This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now.
Yo, what is up, 24/7 Buff Fandemonium? I am Swank, your host for your pregame 1 o'clock p.m. Sunday game against the Minnesota Vikings, Sunday sessions. Here with my boy, Mr. Scott Reed.
Hey, what's up, FLX Mafia, 24/7 Buff Fandemonium? Let's go, Buffalo. This is a big game this week.
Let's go. And, of course, as always, the sweetest voice in the business, Mr. Ryan Thomas.
What's going on, boys? We got a big one today. 1 o'clock. We see some snow falling here, at least in Lockport, where I am from. Ooh. Usually what's going on in Lockport already happened in Orchard Park. So what's about to happen in Lockport, you get the point.
I see it. It's foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing. I'm no weatherman. That's for sure.
Well, boys, we got a lot of drama, a lot of intrigue, a lot of storyline heading into this game today. The inactives are out. Just came out 1 minute ago. That is the benefit of joining us on Sunday sessions every game day before a game. Every game
Half
day
an hour
a
before the game, or
Yeah.
an hour before the game. That's what it is.
That's what it is. So we got some peeps that we knew, such as Mr. Jordan Poyer is inactive and Mr. Greg Rousseau is inactive. Other names on this list, we did see that Xavier Rhodes got elevated, so we were wondering if that meant something for Tre'Davious White, something about Kyer Elam. Bad news on both fronts. Tre'Davious is inactive. Kyer is also inactive.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, we're going to have a little Dane Jackson and Bernard duo out there, it looks like. Other names on this list, Justin Murray, an offensive lineman, Balin Spector, and Tommy Sweeney. So people that, you kind of would expect to be inactive. But there's some big names on this list. And RT, what are you thinking about? How is this all going to affect this game today?
I think it definitely will, as it always does, in some form or fashion, in terms of how we game plan for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, the Vikings are 7-1, but I definitely feel that the Vikings' best opponent this season is the one that they're playing today. They beat the Miami Dolphins without Tua. Really, outside of that, they haven't really beaten anybody that's in the upper echelon. They got beat down by the Eagles physically, mentally during the season. So, I feel like this is going to be a game that we're going to really see these guys in the secondary tested, though. Despite all that, being 7-1, they got Justin Jefferson. Dalvin Cook has always been a game opponent, a game player in this league, as well as TJ Hawkinson, which I thought was one of the biggest trade steals that I have seen in recent, NFL trade deadline history at the very least. So Vikings got it going on as far as their weapons. It's just a matter of the consistency at quarterback. Can we make Kirk Cousins do Kirk Cousins things out there? That's the question defensively.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part of that lies into that CB depth right now, right? You got Xavier Rhodes getting called up. Somebody like Justin Jefferson, who is a stud in this league and is going to be a shining star for many seasons to come, whether Kirk Cousins throwing him the ball or not. He's got to be the biggest problem. What do you think there, Scott?
I think the biggest problem, Justin Jefferson, yes. It's a nice little showdown for that 2020 kind of trade to bring Diggs in, and Minnesota using that first rounder for Justin Jefferson. I like them both, so I can't wait to see those two both going at it. Even though they don't play head to head, people are going to think about that kind of matchup to see who made out the best for the Buffalo Bills or the Vikings. But guys, it's a game of there's a lot of family ties going in this game. Keenum and Diggs. Keenum's backing up, obviously, because we got the news that Josh Allen is starting. Oh, he's active. We don't know if he's starting. So that reunion, Harrison Phillips is coming back. That reunion. Yeah. The Dalvin Cook and James Cook brother reunion is happening. And that's freaking exciting. And obviously that first round draft pick kind of hoopla. But this offense, I'm kind of glad it's raining and snowing and kind of being miserable out, because with the news of Kyer and Tre'Davious White, man, oh man, Benford has proven himself a little bit, but boy, oh boy, with Hawkinson being added to that offensive weaponry, it's going to be pretty dangerous for sure.
Well, I mean, going on that string there about Hawkinson, we saw Edmonds was banged up a little bit during the week. He's not on this list. Matt Milano also not on this list. So you have those two dudes, and I think Milano can hang with Hutchinson pretty easily. It's going to be, I think, a lot about how are we going to get these young kids on the same page finally without the leadership of a Jordan Poyer out there, or any of these other. Tremaine's going to have to step up and take control, I think, of calling these plays and really be on their P's and Q's. And with the bad weather, we saw that Duke Johnson got called up from the practice squad along with Xavier. I thought maybe that meant that they were going to inactivate James, which I thought was kind of crappy for the storyline, but I didn't really see how else it made sense. But are we thinking with the weather, with Josh's arm, we need more running backs? We're gonna try and run it right down their throat as much as we can and have a fresh stable. Is that the idea, you think, guys?
Yeah, I do. I feel like as we get into these months, November, December, I know a lot of Bills fans weren't too pleased with Zach Moss and his lack of production, but what Zach Moss provided was a little bit of thump at the running back position in comparison, especially to Devin Singletary. And you traded that guy away for Naheem Hines, who offers a lot to this offense. Don't get me wrong, I love the move, but you still need that running back with a little bit of thump. And Duke Johnson, he's had a pretty awesome career in terms of filling in as a depth linebacker in the NFL for plenty of teams. So, he'll probably get an opportunity to see some looks today. Maybe, Scott and I make jokes, before every show. Hopefully we see some run game. Hopefully. And then it seems like each and every week it's less and less and less. But to your point, Swank, Josh Allen does have an injury. Let's not mistake that. We know that he has an injury. Whether he's good to go, that's a whole other debate. Plenty of quarterbacks have had injuries that they play through, and I think Josh Allen should be one that shows that warrior spirit and all that. I love that, but I want to see a little bit more of a less Josh Allen centric offense and a more let's rely on the weapons that he's got. Let's rely on these running backs. Dawson Knox, I want to see him get going, and I want to see more production from any wide receiver but Stephon Diggs in this offense, as well as Stephon Diggs.
I agree wholeheartedly, man. It's got to get a lot more diverse, especially with all these weapons that we've put around this kid. The thing that we've built, like, it needs to be more. You just paid Dawson. I know he went through a big tragedy and all that stuff, slow start to the season, all that, but he ended the season last year as like a top 5 tight end in the league. I mean, leading all tight ends are tied for most touchdowns by a tight end in the season. Like, I mean, there's got to be ways to get him involved. There's just so much dynamic, like, playmaking ability on this offense that, like, they got to sort it out. And maybe that goes a little bit to Dorsey. I don't know. Scott, what do you think about that?
I'm just looking at the running backs list now. This is the first time I've ever seen 6 running backs on our active roster and only 5 wide receivers.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it's time that we see Dorsey kind of take a notch out of his own kind of theory of how to control a game with snow and without the weapons that he's usually having in a healthy Josh Allen. So 5 running backs and a fullback, is that all decoy? Because remember, they can use Duke Johnson, James Cook, and Naeem Hines out of the backfield as wide receivers. So I don't know if this is a way to make Minnesota believe that they're going to run the ball, because they can easily pass the ball with all these guys. So it's a toss-up. I still have no idea what the Bills. Well, obviously, I don't have any idea. I can't speculate what the Buffalo Bills will be able to do with the roster that they're bringing this Sunday.
Well, I mean, I think one of the benefits of that is, like, if we watch the team all the time and we can't figure it out, then the Vikings are going to have a hard time with it too, right? So hopefully anyway. Speaking on the run, but let's flip sides of the ball. This defense has gotten torn up the last couple of weeks against the run. We got Groot out. Like I said, we do have that linebacking quarterback in. Hopefully that helps a little bit. What do we got to do, RT, to stop these opposing running backs?
You can't let these running backs get to the second level. It has to be a minimum of 2-3 yards. Beyond that, 4 yards at best. 4 yards is terrible too. Don't get me wrong, but 4 yards is better than 24. 4 yards is better than 34. We saw the Jets rattle off a few big gains in a row. It was like just massive body punches in a fight with James Robinson and Michael Carter. And Dalvin Cook is good, no doubt about it. He's great. But Alex Madison is a good backup running back to Dalvin Cook as well. He could be a starter on a lot of teams in this league, I think, in terms of the production that he's shown when Dalvin Cook has had an injury or two over his career. So, I feel like you got to prevent that running back from getting to the second level. And my eyes are on Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds. Edmonds especially today, in terms of what Swank was talking about as far as his ability to call the defense, his ability to stop the run, his ability to recognize the pass. Today is a big day for Tremaine Edmonds, especially when I hear the inactive report. It puts more pressure on players that are consistently within the lineup, and a player like Matt Milano, who was out of the lineup last week, hoping he comes back today, at full force, and we see that tandem play like we know they can play. We've seen it. We just have to see it consistently from Jermaine Edmonds, I think, especially in a matchup like this. They don't want Kirk Cousins to win them any game. That they've proven that. They had to go out. They got Justin Jefferson. They got T.J. Hockenson. They don't want Kirk Cousins to throw 60 times in a game. If that happens for Minnesota, that's a recipe for disaster. So they're going to rely on Dalvin Cook. They're going to rely on Madison. They're going to rely on the short passing game. And the middle of the field has to be prepared for it.
Absolutely. I mean, I think going back to fundamentals as well, tackling. Tackling's been a little bit lackluster, I'd say, these last couple of weeks. I'd like to see them shore that up too. Scott, do you have any ideas? Is there anything else they can do? What about these DTs on the inside? All we heard about all offseason, Jordan Phillips coming back, shoring that up. You got Big Bad Ed in there. You got bigger guys, D. Jones. What's going on there? Are they losing these battles? What's going on?
I'm going back to the whole Edmonds conversation. I think the defensive line is not doing that bad. It's just we didn't have a linebacker last week, especially against the Jets, with Edmonds that could fill a gap and fill at the line of scrimmage or within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage. He kept catching the lineman coming out. He kept taking wrong angles, not squaring up. I still have faith in this defensive line. I saw someone knocking Oliver the other day, which is crazy because I think he's having the best year of his career.
Oh yeah, me too.
But
me too. Me three.
I think the defensive line, guys, let's remember Daquan Jones is new this year. I mean, I hate to give the whole new as an excuse, but they're still trying to figure each other out, especially since you rotate so often. It's not like they're with the same 4 people every play. So you're still trying to figure each other out. So it's all about, for me, gap responsibility, make sure you don't get pushed out of the hole, don't get your body turned. And the fact that Edmonds now can relax a little bit more because Milano is back, I do believe that was a big part of it. I think Milano can keep the edge from Dalvin Cook because we know he loves getting that edge and he's fast. I think you'll see that front 7 be a lot more comfortable with Milano being back there. So Russo, that's going to be that. I mean, his wingspan, his able to seal the edge and all that stuff is going to be a big difference maker in this game. We're hoping Boogie Basham or AJ Epinesa can take that responsibility. And those guys, I believe they can. Just you got to be responsible with this team. Like you said, Swank and Ryan, if they start getting away from Dalvin Cook, they do have the weapons at wide receiver, and that's where I believe that Edmonds can relax a little more. He can get into his zones a little better, take away the middle of the field, and that makes it a lot easier for those safeties. But it all has to do with being able to read these plays quickly and getting your responsibility. And I think if any defense, not just the Buffalo Bills, if you have 11 players that can do all that at the same time, it's a good recipe for a W.
I like it. If you're just joining us, we're very sorry if you're tuned in on Facebook. Facebook is being ridiculous right now, so we can't get our stream out there, but we did put the YouTube link on. Thanks for everybody that switched over and started hanging out over there. We did get a question. Hey, dudes, what's the Vikings' biggest weakness on defense? I just looked it up real quick while we were talking, and they are ranked, as far as total yards are concerned, 25th in the league. Mm-hmm. So what is their biggest weakness?
I would say from what I've seen is their secondary, which is very interesting because Buffalo's secondary is necked up, obviously, with Hyde, Poyer, and Trey White and Kyrie Elam out. That's a lot of talent right there.
You say it like that, it just, ugh.
Minnesota doesn't even have.
I know.
Minnesota doesn't even have 2 of those guys to start the season. You know what I mean? Like they don't even have 2 of those guys on their roster, from week 1 on, let alone we have 4 of them that are unfortunately out. So I feel like the secondary for Minnesota is probably their biggest weakness. It seems like every week they're either playing down to the level of the team that they're playing, or they are finding a way from some lucky stars way of winning these games, grabbing a star out of the sky and finding a way to win it. I made a joke with a buddy of mine yesterday that the Minnesota Vikings are like the NFC's version of the Tennessee Titans, where the Tennessee Titans, their defense was doing really well and Derrick Henry was going off and Tannehill was doing okay. And then once they make the playoffs, they'll just disappear because they don't have the experience, they don't have the depth, and they're just – I don't think they're that good, to be quite honest with you, despite being 7-1. And I'd say their weakness is their secondary, and it's kind of shown over the season this year.
I agree 100%. I think that's again, it's snowing and it's miserable outside. That would be what I would do if we knew Josh Allen's arm was 100%. He could launch the ball deep. I would attack this defensive backfield for sure. But they do give up over 100 yards rushing a game, but I think every team but 3 does that anyway. So I think today's big thing is just keeping them honest. You don't want to let them be able to drop 7 people to cover our wide receivers and tight ends, because like I mentioned last week on the show, Thomas Take Sport podcast, you start bracketing Diggs and you start one-on-one and Gabe Davis with your number 1, it's going to be very difficult to get any yards. So you got to make them honest. And I think if you make them both respect the run and the pass equally, then you can destroy this team with a couple deep balls on the edge. They need to bring back Gabe Davis's deep, skinny post, because that seems to be potent, and they've gotten away from it.
Sure. I'll tell you, last week with the game, the thing that I loved right off the bat was that bomb, and I haven't gotten a chance to talk to you on the stream here since then, but like going after Sauce, hitting Stephon Diggs in stride, like if they would have kept that momentum going, played smart football all the way through, I think that was the tone setter. You just got to follow through with that.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think if you did that right off the bat today and showed everybody, oh, geez, Josh isn't afraid to throw, Josh will air it out, like this isn't a thing, then maybe you could play it slightly more conservatively and pick your points. You know what I mean? I'd love to see that. But I just pulled up the Vikings schedule here, and just to go over the games to Ryan's point earlier.
It's not that impressive. For sure.
It's not impressive at all.
No.
You know, it just doesn't jump out at me.
They blew out the Packers week 1. They got beat pretty badly by the Eagles week 2. They beat the Lions by 4. They beat the Saints by 3. They beat the Bears by 7. They beat Tua's Dolphins team by 8. They beat the Cardinals, who were a middling team, and the Commanders by 3.
And you can only control the schedule that you got in front of you,
Sure.
and you can only play the games that you have. But when you say they only beat the Lions by 4, I think that we can kind of rest on that. We can rest on a few of those, to be honest with you. But me personally, I look at that one loss, and they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles, and they got just out hustled, out punched,
Hammered.
beat to the punch, whatever you want to. They were beat down by the Philadelphia Eagles, and that on the other side of things, Philadelphia Eagles being 8-0, that to me is more noteworthy because of how they've won their games in comparison to even the Vikings being 7-1 compared to how they've won their games. I just look at this team and I say to myself, this is a team that we can beat.
Yeah.
If we play our game, we could beat anybody. If we play our game, the 2 losses we've had this season, to Swank's point, it's like the game has kind of gotten away from them a little bit. There's moments where they do things successfully, and then they just kind of deviate away from that, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I think these last, 6 quarters, as a lot of Bills fans say. So I hope we see that change today.
Me too. Well, I mean, we got about 10 minutes left. You guys got any questions, comments, please send them our way. I think we'll run around the panel here and do a little score prediction, a little bold prediction. Scott, you want to lead the way with that?
Oh, yeah, 24-17. I'm playing weather. I'm playing Josh's arm because I don't know what's happening with that. And I agree to your point earlier, Swank. I think the Bills need to show – I'm not sure how Minnesota's coming into this game, knowing that Josh's elbow is kind of sore. Show them that you could throw the ball deep. That way the safeties are going to have to drop. They can't press the box like I think they're going to try to in the beginning. But 24-17, and in my bold prediction, I said it on the Thomas Take Sports podcast last week. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. Is both Justin Jefferson, obviously with the injuries we have at cornerback now and Trey not playing, and Stephon Diggs, both going over 100, both getting a touchdown. I think it's going to be one of those days that Bills fans and Vikings fans realize that trade that happened in 2020 was a good trade for both teams.
Man, if they're just realizing it now, I don't know what the hell's wrong with them.
But it's up to this. Who got the better deal? So
Yeah.
It's just going to be one of those things. But they both got the good deal.
Yeah. They have one of the most even trades, I think, in the history of Buffalo trades, for sure.
Right.
RT,
right.
what do you got, buddy?
Bold prediction. I'm going to say that the big bodies are going to do really well today on offense and on defense. What I mean by that is Dawson Knox. I want to see Dawson Knox have a day. I need to see it because we gave him a real good healthy, hearty extension. And I want to see him, take over this game. I feel like maybe the short passing game might be where Buffalo is best suited based on Josh Allen and his injury. Maybe they test him deep, as Scott said, but, Dawson Knox could be left open a time or two with this Vikings defense and their inconsistencies. I'd like to see Dawson Knox have a day. I'm going to predict that Dawson Knox does have a touchdown. I'm going to predict that he has over 6 catches today and a touchdown. And I'm going to go on the defensive side, big body wise. Whoever is saying that Ed Oliver is having a horrible season, you got to check the tape. Go back. If you got the DVR, the TiVo, whatever it is that the kids use these days to watch the games, the all 22 on NFL Plus, do whatever you got to do. Ed Oliver is having the best year of his career. I think that he's going to get 2-3 sacks today on the defensive side. Score-wise, I'm going to go 27-17. I think the Bills are going to get it done. I think it's going to be a nice, solid victory. It'll be a close game due to the competitive nature of both teams, but I think the Bills are going to get it done.
I like it. Oh, man. So many things to consider with this game, especially with the weather, Josh's arm, all the stuff that we've talked about over the last 26 minutes and 36 seconds. I was just looking at the over-under. CBS has it at 46.5. Rye, your prediction was an under. You pretty safe with an under too, Scott? Would you bet the under or the over on this one?
Over-under is 46.5?
Yeah.
What's the point differential? Is it negative 3.5 for Buffalo?
Let's see.
I think it went up a little bit.
It did, yeah.
To 6.5.
6.5, yep. Minnesota plus 6.5.
Favoring the Bills? Okay. Oh, Minnesota. All right. So what I've been doing with FanDuel and Caesars and all that stuff is I try to figure out if it's going to be a blowout. I've noticed you can make a lot more money if you do the under if the spread is a lot bigger, because what happens is if the team gets ahead of them, then they'll sometimes take the foot off the pedal and the other team will still struggle offensively, score points, and they don't get the over under. And I've actually won some money on that. So take that in the theory, guys. But I'm still going to stick with 46.5. I think with the weather is going to play a big role, and I think you're going to see the Bills run the ball a little more. So that's going to milk the clock a little more.
So you going under?
Yeah, I'll go under.
Yeah, I'm going under too. I'm pretty firm in my 27-17 score prediction.
See, that's about where I'm at. I think I would go 24-10. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think the Bills get righted. I think they do it a different way, and I think this is going to be a really good game for Ken Dorsey and from Ken Dorsey. If he can expand and show that they can get it done in certain areas. One of the things we didn't really talk about, Spencer Brown's not on that list. So is he starting today? Quessenberry kind of struggled last week, which is surprising because he's an all-pro and a veteran in the league, and he's always done fairly well. That would be interesting to see because it actually looks like when Spencer Brown's in the mix, they do better at running the ball. Mm-hmm. So something to consider. I think for me, my bold prediction is going to be a little guy named James Cook. I think that he comes out swinging today. I think he's got a lot to prove to the older brother. They got a lot of love for each other. They train. He marked this game on his calendar before he even put on a uniform. He said he was excited for this game. And I think it would just be amazing that if this is his breakout, if you start getting him more involved and get him comfortable, especially with the elements, it being a little cold, it being a little wet, if he can get sure-footed and gain some yards and be very productive today, or at least average production for an NFL running back, I think that would be a huge step forward for him. So I'm going to say 75 yards for James and a TD.
A tutty, yeah. And bad weather can be a disaster for defenses that have to play against these shifty running backs. Mm-hmm. Can't get the traction, can't do all that stuff. So his one-cut ability will make it very difficult for these linebackers and safeties to break down and bring them down. Yeah, is he gonna have a big run in there, Swank, like a 40-yarder?
I want at least a 30-yarder, okay. Something to break out. Maybe a 30-yarder from the 29.5-yard line. That would be good.
There you go.
There definitely is something to what Swank is saying because although I'm a younger brother, I have an older brother, 4 years older. He was not nearly as athletically gifted as I was, and
Of
that says a
course.
lot because my playing career was short but sweet, as I like to say. And there is something to that, when you're playing football in the front yard with your older brother, you kind of want to run him over,
Yeah.
So, we won't see that, but we'll maybe see James Cook wave his brother hello as he's running down the sideline into the end zone.
I like that.
They give the Tyreek Hill peace sign.
Yeah. Hey, bro. Hey.
As long as he doesn't point to the jumbotron like Sammy did a couple seasons ago there.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, don't
Get
do
your
that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
All right, kids. We're right here at the end. Thanks for joining us for another Sunday Sessions. Again, sorry about the hiccup over on Facebook. We hope you catch up, and we hope that you join us every Sunday for Sunday Sessions at the 1 o'clock start games. We're 11:30 to noon, and it gives it just enough time to get hyped, get a little question in, get the inactive sorted out, and all before you know it's only an hour before the game. It's beautiful. So
Booyah.
join us there.
Booyah.
Ryan, why don't you tell the people where they can find you?
People can find me on the Thomas Take Sports podcast. It's my podcast. I have my own breakdowns of the games featuring, of course, our team, the Buffalo Bills. And the last few weeks, I've had the pleasure of having Scott Reed, our very own Scott Reed, join me on the show. And we did a little collab, K-Gun Report, Thomas Take, all that fun stuff. And you can find that on Facebook, YouTube, any and all audio podcasting platforms. A lot to discuss as we got a lot of football left, guys. I know we got 2 division losses on the record, but we got a lot of divisional games left to play. So it ain't over till it's over. We're 6-2. We're going to smack the Vikings in the mouth today, God willing, and get to 7-2.
Hell yeah.
Hey, we are 6-2, and I know you guys mentioned the Eagles and the Vikings not having a tough schedule, but the Eagles having a tough schedule. You got to look at our Bills schedule. The teams that we beat are all making playoffs right now in top seeds. The Chiefs, the Ravens, the Titans. They're no joke. And Miami, obviously, and the Jets, we kind of lost to them, but they're only a half game behind, so they're tough as it is. So we've got a tough schedule too, and we're not doing too bad with all those injuries we've had. So I think it's time with some people coming back, Josh Allen happy and healthy. Let's put some points on the board. I know I said 24-17, but come on. Let's remind Bills fans what we're all about. My final thought, hey guys, hit up we have a game day thread going on 24/7 Buff Pandemonium group in FLX Mafia. We do tag at everyone, so get everybody involved. It's a nice little conversation we have during the game. You can vent, you can be happy, we can all scream touchdown together. It's pretty awesome. But I also want to remind you to join us on Tuesday 8 p.m. The K-Gun Report goes live. We will be spinning the Pandemonium Wheel Destiny for those that participated 2 weeks ago for that Josh Allen
Crucial catch.
Crucial catch jersey. And
Hell
in
yeah.
2 weeks, on the 22nd, we're going to have a salute to service special with some special guests, Buffalo Spartan, Bills Jason, and Bills Vader. And we're also going to have this nice Allen jersey up for grabs. You come on, leave a comment during the show, you'll be entered to win that. So
Nice.
it is Crucial Catch, or not, sorry, Salute to Service month. It's the 13th of November. I know we just had Veterans Day on Friday. So thank you to all who have served, dedicated that part of their life to protecting our country, and those that have sacrificed already. We can't thank you guys enough. We wouldn't be able to do all this without all those sacrifices. So greatly appreciated. Love all our military people, past and present. Thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. Go
Amen to
Bills.
that. Amen to that.
Nicely done. Nicely done. I think I'm going to get you an oxygen tank in there, though, man, because that sentence, holy shit. Is there any lungs left in your, any air in your lungs left?
I have 2 kids, one on the way, so I'm used to.
Don't you touch that. Get away from there. What are you doing?
I can see myself, so as long as my lips aren't turning purple, we're all set.
No. Absolutely well said. Thank you so much for everybody that participated, hung out. We love what we do, man, and I love doing it with you guys. I love when Jared's involved. Everything's just great, man. It's a great time to be a Bills fan and be alive. So we'll see you Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the K-Gun Report. Please don't forget to tune in next Sunday for Sunday Sessions. Hopefully we'll be all over Facebook then, and it'll be great. Otherwise, write your senator. You know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you. So
No, hit us up on YouTube. We could use the subscribers. We're
Yeah,
almost
we
at
could.
100, guys.
yeah,
Look us
we're
up.
really trying to hit 100 by I don't know. Next week would be awesome, wouldn't it? Just
Oh, yeah.
wake up and you're like, oh my God, 100 subscribers. Damn. But all right, guys, thank you so much. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Yeah.
this is a dangerous group